Radhe Radhe, 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 मैं तेरे हूँ राधा तेरी रहूं, मैं तेरी हूँ राधा तेरी रहूं, मैं तेरी हूँ राधे तेरी रहूं, मैं तेरी हूँ राधे तेरी रहूं, तेरे चरणों की चेली 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 रहूं, करुणा बरसावनी राधा, करुणा बरसावनी राधा,
Just gonna stop
अब मोहे कृपा करो, राधे राधे, 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 राधे Om Ajnanaatimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ya Kunde Tushara Hara Ya Shubhravastram Vrita, Ya Veena Varatanda Manditakara, Ya Shweta Padmasana, Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Praritibi, Devai Sada Vandita, Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Buddhi Pradam Sharade, Buddhi Pradam Sharade, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, Jai Gurudev, everyone. So Jai Gurudev to Bhakti Marg UK, Jai Gurudev to devotees in other countries who are joining us on the call or are watching live on Facebook. Jai Gurudev, and welcome to anyone who's new and coming to Bhakti Marga for the first time as well. So today we're here for a special guest satsang with Anshul. So just before I hand it over to him, I'll just kind of explain kind of how we got to this point. So probably a few weeks into the lockdown, we were approached by one of the devotees from SPN who used to live here, and they offered to do a satsang for just the people in the country. And it got us thinking that perhaps it'd be nice to do these kind of guest satsangs. It's just something different, just another way of occupying our mind on Guruji and on spirituality during the lockdown. But we've had 4 so far, and 3 so far before today, and they've all been really wonderful. We were hearing from Swami Conta, we heard from Swami Hanashriya, we had 2 wonderful satsangs from Ravi on his journey and on the biography of Guruji in his early life. So it's, as I said, the feedback's been so positive, and the people have enjoyed it so much that we've gone from an internal Zoom call to, as I said, broadcasting live on Facebook. Everyone's welcome, and reaching out to even the devotees in the other countries as well. So as Anshul, not too much pressure. We've got a bit to live up to there as well. So I'll introduce Anshul today. I've been looking forward to doing this, thinking of what to say. So just basically, Anshul obviously used to live in the UK. He moved, I think it was right at the end of 2016, start of 2017, full-time to Germany, to Springen, just outside the ashram there. I think many of you will often, I don't think everyone on the call would have met Anshul, but I think many of you would have seen him. He's often pictured or recorded standing next to Guruji in the temple or in different situations, often uninvited, but he's there anyway. In terms of when Anshul was in the UK, so he's probably one of the first ever pujaris in Bhakti Marga, if I can say that. He was doing puja with Guruji way back from when kind of Bhakti Marga began. It's quite nice that I think Anshul's got Pankaj in the room. So Pankaj, Anshul was the very first Pankaj before you came along. So he was always serving Guruji, always knew what to do before Guruji even said anything in just about any or every situation. And it's even nice for me to do this because Anshul was actually probably one of the main first organisers of Bhakti Marga in the UK, long before any of the rest of us sort of came along. So sort of a wealth of experience. So really looking forward to hearing from Anshul. We'll hand it over to you now, and you can share your story with everyone.
So Jai Gurudev, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to come and listen to me speak today. And I remember when Shez first approached me, I wasn't too keen on doing the satsang, to be honest with you, because I'm naturally a little bit shy of these situations. And I was with Guruji a few weeks ago, and he said, he turned around to me suddenly and he said to me, Anshul, so how was your satsang with the UK lot? And then I realized, yeah, maybe I should be doing this satsang. So thank you again for all attending, and I hope I don't bore you too much. So what I'm thinking about this satsang, I'm preparing for this satsang. I'm very glad that I did it, because in preparation for this satsang, I had to really go through my experiences with Guruji and the last 15 years that I've been with him. And I tell you something, time has flown by, and I never really sat down and thought about how much time and what's happened in these 15 years until this time of preparation. So I'm grateful to you all for asking me to do this satsang. And for this satsang, I thought I would break it up into sort of 4 sections, focusing on the relationship with the master. And the first section would be longing for the master. The second section is realizing the master, and I'll explain that a bit further because that's not probably the best way of describing what I mean, but realizing the master is the second section. The third section is trusting and listening to the master. And I think that's really, really important when we embark on this spiritual journey with Guruji. And then finally, I just want to share a little bit about serving the master and my time here in Germany. So we'll start with the first section of longing for the master. And a little bit about my background. I grew up in a Hindu family, and as a young child, we used to go to the temple often, and we would go on Sundays, we would see pujas, see abhishekams, and we were introduced to this culture of Sanatana Dharma at a very young age. And through this upbringing, I was also introduced to various saints. And I remember I used to read lots of books about the saints, and some particular saints stuck in my mind, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. His devotion, his bhakti, books about Satya Sai Baba, books about Shirdi Sai Baba, and of course, books which many of you read, such as Autobiography of a Yogi. And I remember through reading these books, a sense of longing was awakened in me. And what I really wanted was this personal, one-to-one, heart-to-heart relationship with the master, where I would be able to not only have insights into the divinity of a master, but also develop a friendship with a master, and a friendship which would allow me to talk to him, to interact with him, to share experiences with him, and basically to be around and close to the master. And slowly over time, this desire, this longing started to develop more and more. And I remember we used to visit India here and there, and we used to visit the temples there and the ashrams there as well. And in this way, slowly, the desire became stronger and stronger and stronger. And it became very, very intense. And I remember after meeting Satya Sai Baba, this was the desire of my life. And I was like a man possessed. I was maybe in my early 20s. So when in your 20s, you'd be, with friends, going out drinking, clubbing, all of those things. But this became the obsession of my life, to be close to a master. And I remember I would pray at night, longing to have this relationship with the master. I would sometimes pray all night, chanting the Gayatri mantra, yearning for this relationship with the master. And I used to wake up every morning before going to lectures, before going to university at the time, at 5:30, and sit and pray in front of my altar, yearning for this relationship to manifest. And this was the case for 5 long years. And the reason why I say 5 long years was because doing this with this intensity and not seeing the results, or not seeing anything change, was sometimes disheartening. It was a struggle. And it came to the point where I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give up. Forget this. This is not worth it. Nothing's happening. So I gave up, and I stopped doing my sadhana. I stopped praying. I stopped yearning for this kind of stuff. And I was a bit of a broken man. And I remember I had a dream one night, and in this dream, a saint came to me and said, I will see you very, very soon. And I thought, whatever, I'm not interested anymore. It's too little too late for me. And I remember a few weeks later, I just finished my studies as a dentist, and I thought, yeah, whatever. And then Myron, my brother, he came to me one day and he said, I've met this guru, and he's a young guy. He's about 27 years old, but I'm not sure about him, but he seems like he might be something. He might be the real deal. And I was thinking, oh, okay, cool. Let's go and see him. Yeah. And slowly this awakening in me, this longing was rekindled a little bit. And so I ended up journeying to then Stephanshof, to the ashram there. And I remember we came very late at night, and I was sitting in the hallway of the house, and I was just waiting. And there were some devotees there, they were singing and et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, the door just slammed open, and in walked this dark man, long hair, fully robed, and he was holding this staff like a danda, and he looked majestic, and I had to really take a breath, and that was the first time I laid eyes on Guruji. And I didn't speak to him. He didn't say anything to me, even though it was just us two in the room. He just walked on by, and he went into the room of devotees. And in this room, we were singing, and it was becoming late at night, and I eventually fell asleep. So I was sitting on the floor, and I was just nodding off. And then I remember waking up and seeing Guruji's face right in front of me. And he had knelt down in front of me, and he was prodding me to wake up. And as I woke up, I saw his face, and I was a bit startled, of course. And he said to me, "Go to bed. I will speak to you in London." And so I left the ashram and didn't see him after that. And then a few weeks later, he came to London for an event. And I was there. I came to participate in the event. And at the end of the event, I waited. I waited for Guruji, hoping to speak to him, because he'd said, he would speak to me in London. So I was waiting. Minutes were going by. I was waiting. Now it was hours going by. And he was about to leave. And I was waiting just at the entrance, and he was about to leave and get into the car. And on his way to leaving, he said, "I said I would speak to you. Come." And so that's when he, at the time I was thinking, he said he would speak to me. He said he would speak to me. And at the very last moment, he turned and he said, "I will speak to you." And so we sat down and we spoke about various things. And then I asked him, a bit cheeky actually, when I look at it with hindsight, "Are you a realized master?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Are you my master?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And that was the first encounter that I had, or the first couple of encounters that I had with Guruji. And it's not really till later on in my path that I realized how fortunate I was, and how that in all those years of growing up, my longing was not gone to waste. And that God listens to you. God listens to your prayers. And when you pray to God, your prayers don't go unanswered. And through this longing, you develop, it's like a tapasya, where you see really what you're made of. And although I gave up, Guruji still came into my life. And like I said, this takes me on to the next part of my talk, or my satsang, which is about realizing the master. And what I mean by realizing the master is realizing that the master is divine, because we can all hear the stories, we can all read the books, but to have this put in front of you in your own experience is something else, because it's yours and there's no denying it when you contemplate on it. And so this journey of realizing the master, that realizing that Guruji is divine, that Guruji can do anything, that Guruji is omnipotent, that Guruji knows everything about you, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, that took some time. But what I would say is that I always had an affinity to Guruji. Mainly because I really love being in his presence. And secondly, we always had fun. And those of you that know Guruji, or have spent some time with Guruji, he's one of the most fun people to be around. And we're constantly laughing, we're constantly sharing experiences, and he always makes spirituality fun, a fun thing. And so for me, there was no light bulb moment that Guruji was divine. But over the 15 years that I've known him, it's been a gradual process where experience after experience, I've grown to, I don't know if you can see, that's Guruji coming back from his walk in the background. So over the 15 years, experience after experience, I've slowly, this realization that Guruji is not human. He's not a normal person. He may act like a normal person. He may interact with us in a normal way, but there are facets, there are dimensions to him that are completely out of this world. And I just want to talk about a couple of things that he said to me, which illustrates this point that sometimes when Guruji says something, it takes years to manifest. So when after a first couple of encounters with him, I was in Stephanshof, and I remember Guruji saying to me, he called me aside and he said, "Come over here." And he said, "Do you know, Anshul, you will get married and you will have 2 kids. And obviously it takes time to get married and have kids." I didn't know anyone. I didn't know my wife then. Well, I did know her, but I didn't really like her, to be honest with you. And I remember when she wasn't even a devotee then. She wasn't even a devotee at this point. And so after a year or so, my wife started coming to see Guruji.
To będziesz się bawił.
And yeah, after as she started coming to see Guruji, Guruji would always ask me, "Where is Subha? Where is Subha? What is she doing? How is she?" And I was like, "I don't really care, Guruji. It's not of interest to me how Subha is or what she's doing or why is she here, and so on and so on and so on." And as years went by, she became my wife. And as Guruji had said in those very early days, I now have 2 kids, 2 boys. So just as Guruji had said, you will get married and have 2 boys. I had 2 boys. Another small thing, after we took a 2-year, after 2 years of not seeing Guruji, we came back to see him. And Myron was the first one to see him after those 2 years. And the first thing he asked Myron, before he asked, one of the first things he asked about us was not how we were or anything like that. He asked if Subha was pregnant. And it's a strange thing to ask when you first inquire about someone, yeah. But as you are around Guruji, you start to realize that everything he says has a reason, and there is a deeper meaning behind what he says. And after a few months, my wife fell pregnant, and unfortunately, she had a miscarriage. So we had a miscarriage during this time. And all the way through this difficult time, Guruji was with us, and he would make sure that we were okay and all of this, and like a true friend, not just a guru, like a true friend, he was always with us. And I remember after some time, we were in Edinburgh for a darshan, and I just received darshan, and Guruji said to me, you know, you guys will have a child soon, and it will be a boy. And he said some other things as well. And after some time, after 9 months, Kesh was born. So like that, you see, that's just a small, those are just two very, very small examples of how Guruji does know everything. And like I said, it took some time for these things to manifest, but exactly how he said it, these things manifest. And what I want to say about realizing the master is that it's a very, very personal thing. I can't tell you that Guruji is divine. I can't tell you that he knows everything. I can share my experience, yes, but these things I cannot tell you. They are things you have to find out for yourself. And I truly believe if the longing is there, he will reveal those things to you. And so, yeah, I think realizing the master, and that's what I wanted to say about realizing the master, that Guruji does know everything. And after some time there, once you realize that, you're a fool to think that he doesn't know everything, that he doesn't have the potential to change lives. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share about realizing the master, or having an insight to the master, that he's divine, that he knows everything. And during these 15 years, another aspect of what Guruji's taught me is this thing of the kirtan, the puja, the abhishekam, the yagna. And through these 15 years, we've traveled the world, you know, doing kirtan, and through Corona and so on, these things have all changed now. But like I said before, with Guruji, you have so much fun. There is so much fun. And he makes all of these things that as a child, I was at the temple looking at these things thinking, this is boring, man. But now I look at it with a new light. I think these things are brilliant. I'm so glad we have these things in our culture. So that is about, is everyone okay? Yeah. So that's about longing for the master and realizing the master, or having an insight into the master. And now I want to get into the crux of my satsang, which is about trusting and listening to the master, because it's one thing, like I said, to know that the master is divine. It's one thing to have the experience that the master is divine, but to have this trust day to day is, that's what really will separate, shall we say, the men from the boys. And a small experience, and this takes me to the crux of my talk and how I came to live in Springen. Yeah. So we would, as all devotees at that point did, 2014, 2015, we would travel to see Guruji. And we would travel to see him, and we would spend time with him. We would participate in the events, and it was always like a breath of fresh air. Coming to see Guruji was like a breath of fresh air, because the rat race of life, going to work, earning money, and so on and so on and so on. Going to see Guruji was like I said, it was amazing. And after the events, spending time with Guruji would often say very, very casually, and this is why I want to get across to you guys. Sometimes Guruji says things very casually, but you have to have the ears to listen. And he would say, it would be nice if you guys move to Springen. we had fun. It would be nice if you guys moved to Springen. You see how Guruji words it. It's so casual, so matter of fact. You could easily miss it if you're not paying attention. And I remember our situation in the UK was, at that time when he first mentioned it, was as follows. We just bought a house in the UK. I had an awesome job. Like I'm a dentist by profession, and I had a really awesome job in an awesome practice. I would say, the envy of many people for having this job. Yeah, because I was surrounded by colleagues at the top of their game, and so on and so on and so on. So I had a house, had an awesome job. Subha was also well established here. She was also working, and she had a job that was comfortable, that would suit that we thought at the time, let me emphasize that we thought at the time would suit being a mom and having a career and looking after the kids and so on and so on. And we also had our support network. What we thought was our support network. So we had our friends, we had our relations, we had our family there. Yeah. And so I remember at the time, I was very happy in the UK. I didn't want to move. Yeah. And so when Guruji asked me or casually mentioned this, it was like a bit of a, wow, why would I move? Why would I move to Germany? Yeah. And so my second son, Rama, came along. So he was born. And we went to visit Guruji again with Rama. And I remember Guruji saying, he mentioned it again. He said, why don't you move to Germany? And I was like, wow, the mind is, it could be a bit difficult, Guruji, thinking you know better. And he was like, just come, live in a room. Live in one room. You can sleep on top of each other, finished. At least you'll be here. And I was like, what? Okay, this sounds crazy. And I remember we were in the lobby in Springen, and I asked Guruji, are you sure? Are you sure you want us to move? It's like the arrogance when I think about it now. And he said, he got me in a headlock. I'll never forget. And sometimes Guruji does things that are a bit crazy because they stick in your mind. They make you remember the conversations that you have with him. So I remember him getting me in the headlock, and he was telling my brother, he's like, look at this guy. He's so stupid. He doesn't trust me. He doesn't think I know what I'm talking about. And those words, I tell you, as I will go on to explain, in my times of fear, in my times of darkness, those words rang in my heart. And like I said, he said, don't trust me in all those things. And then I knew he was serious. And then we had a conversation afterwards about the plan. Yeah. So I was talking to Guruji about the plan. And he gave us a plan. And the plan was this. The plan was to move to Germany, to live in a room. So my wife and 2 kids. Kesh was maybe 2 years old, and Rama had just been born. Yeah. So Rama was a year old, and Kesh was maybe about 3. Yeah. And to live in a room. Okay. And he said, fly on a Thursday night back to the UK, see your patients on a Friday and a Saturday, and then fly back to Germany on a Sunday. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. If that's what you want, I'll do it. And I remember I came back to the UK. Then Brexit happened. And so we all voted to leave the European Union. And I went back to see Guruji, and then Guruji came up to me and he said, Anshul, what have you guys done? What has the UK done? And I said, I don't know, Guruji, we want to get out. That's what the people have chosen. And he goes, move as soon as possible. And he was emphatic. He was so clear. There was no confusion. Yeah. And by this point, we had made some certain steps and inquiries. We started organizing our finances and so on and so on and so on. Flew back to the UK. Next week, I told my boss. So imagine I'm going to my boss and I'm in this like premier practice, dental practice, and I'm telling him, look, is it okay if I work 2 days? Because my guru has told me to move to Germany. She's like, what? What's going on here? And I said, have you got a place? And I said, we're going to live in a room. And she's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You know? And he goes, what are you going to do for money? Because I'm going to learn German. And then eventually I will probably move out there full time and get a job out there and so on and so on and so on. And you could see, she called her husband in, who was also a dentist at the practice. And she told her the plan, and you could see their look of absolute shock horror. It's like, you guys are crazy. Almost, what's wrong with you? Yeah. And at the time, you're feeling this small because you can't explain. You can't explain this. On paper, this is madness. Yeah. And I remember I told colleagues, I started telling colleagues, oh, you know, colleagues come to me, I've heard you're leaving, what's going on? Or you're cutting down. I was like, yeah, this is the plan. Shock horror, face after face after face of shock horror. I remember telling friends as well, and it was the same reaction. What? You can't speak German. You don't know anything about German culture. You don't know about the health system there. How would you find a job there? What's going on with you? Are you okay? Do you need any help? Yeah. And so there was all these questions from different people. There was even resistance from distant relatives. They would, you know, you could just tell by their voices that distant relatives, they were like, are you okay? You're going a bit crazy following this guru. Yeah. And then I remember even devotees, even some devotees said, is everything okay here? You know, are you going to do this? And like I said, deep down, I don't know why, but I just followed what Guruji was saying. And I tell you, my wife, Subha, was a great source of strength at this time because she just said, look, just do it. We're just going to do it. So Brexit happened, I think, in June. And we moved in November, December. Yeah. And I remember we packed all our stuff and we drove to Germany. You know, we packed all our stuff and it was a final goodbye to everyone in the UK. And we drove to Germany. And when we arrived in Germany, I remember driving into the driveway in Springen. And we were staying in the ashram for a week or so because our thinking was we didn't want to move into a new place without Guruji blessing the place. Because for all of our new places that we'd moved to, when we bought our house, Guruji, by coincidence, was in London. And before we moved in, boxes up, you know, were still there. Nothing was arranged, nothing was up. He came in and he blessed the house. Amazing how these things happen with Guruji. And so we stayed in that ashram. And as we were driving in, there was a crowd of people. And I thought, okay, they're queuing up for prasad or whatever. Yeah. And at the corner of our eye, we saw Guruji. And he wasn't with anyone. He was just pottering around. Yeah. But as you know, when those of you know, when Guruji's around, everyone's there. So everyone was just looking at Guruji. And it was like Guruji was waiting for us. Yeah. And we pulled up all our stuff. We got the kids out of the car. We bowed down in front of him and did our pranams. And he said, so you guys are here now? And we said, yes, Guruji. We've moved everything. We've left everything. And he goes, good. Unpack. I'll see you later. And so, like I said, these small things that Guruji does, they meant the world to us because we were still full of fear, still full of anxiety. This was a completely new journey for us. We were born and brought up in the UK, and now we're here at the ashram. And I remember we went to India just before I came to Germany and moved to Germany. And I remember I was feeling very sick. And I was in the car with Guruji, and Guruji's like, how are you, Anshul? And I said, I'm feeling really sick, Guruji. Nose is running, pain, fever. And he just said, oh. And he put his shawl around me and he goes, come, take shelter in my arms. So, and I knew it was a poignant moment. Sometimes you have these moments of Guruji that are very, very poignant. And I remember thinking, this is what we're embarking on. Yeah. And this was almost symbolic of what was about to happen. That, you know, in chapter 2, verse 7 of Bhagavad Gita, Guruji mentioned it in his satsang yesterday, I think, about how we take shelter in with the master. And when I'd known him for over 10 years at this point. Yeah. And now I'd finally come to the point, just like Arjuna in a way, of finally having the humility and going, do you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just doing it. And I'm just following what you're telling me. And all I can do is take shelter with you at your feet. That's all I can do. And I remember our life in Germany at the beginning was not easy. There was the usual problems and stresses of learning the language. Everything was new, getting insurance, health insurance, and so on in a foreign land. And there were these usual problems. And 4 months later, for different reasons, I lost my job. So at this point, I was flying back and forth, commuting. And that was stressful enough as it is. That wasn't an ideal situation. And I lost my job, and now I had nothing. So I was broke. And so I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do now? I've got a wife and 2 kids. I'm in Germany, and I don't know where my next buck is going to come from. And basically, I lost my job on my wedding anniversary, which also so happens to be Kesh's birthday. So I remember celebrating Kesh's birthday. We had guests over at where I was staying. It wasn't in Springen at that point. It was in a village about 7, 8 kilometers away. And I was heartbroken. I was completely devastated. And I remember thinking, what am I going to do now? And I remember those words, don't you trust me? And with him getting me in the headlock, because like what happened to me in India when Guruji took me under his shawl, I was sick. I didn't trust him completely. If I trusted him completely, I wouldn't have no fear, but I had this fear. And at this point, when I found out, 25th of April, 2017, I remember the day, Guruji was in India. And I didn't message him. I was really in a lot of grief, a lot of fear. And then Guruji came back 2 days later. I didn't know he'd come back, but he came back 2 days later. My phone suddenly rings. Guruji's calling me. Hey, Anshul, how are you? Yeah, okay, Guruji. I didn't want to tell him over the phone. Yeah, I'm okay. Can you come and help me with some relics? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come. No problem. So I put the phone down and I was thinking, he knows what's going on. He's got 1,000,001 people here that can help him with the relics. He doesn't need me to help him. And he doesn't need me to drive from where I'm staying to come and help him. But like I said, Guruji is so humble. He doesn't say, I know what's going on with you and come to me, whatever. He finds a way of doing it in a very normal way. So he says, come and help me. So I drive to him, I come and help him. I walk in and I touch his feet and he says, how are you? And I said, I'm not too good. And he goes, why? Why are you not too good? Like he didn't know. And I said, Guruji, I've lost my job. What? He was like, what? You lost your job? And I was like, yeah, I've lost my job. What should I do? And he just kept going on and repeating, you lost your job. And I was feeling bad at this point. And he kept reminding me. And I was feeling worse and worse and worse. And then there'll be a long pause as he was looking at a relic, or preparing a relic. And so there's this pause where in silence, I'm waiting for him to say something, And he turned around to me and said, you lost your job, Anshul. What are we going to do? I was like, Guruji, I don't know. And then he'll go back to his relics. And then he'll say again, Anshul, what are we going to do? I was like, Guruji, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. And he said, you have to learn German quick. You have to learn German quick. And I said, yeah, I have to learn German quick. I'll learn German quick. And then he would go off and go pick up something, then he'll come back, and it will be the same thing over and over again. And at the end of it, I was getting pretty exasperated. I'm not going to lie. I was I was at rock bottom. And I'd come to Guruji because I'd come to Germany because Guruji had said, and now I'm expecting him to wave his hand and say, look, everything will be all right, and this will be done, and da, da, da. And he said, I remember another very poignant moment. He looked into my eyes and he put his hand on my chest and he was stroking my heart. He was just rubbing my heart and he said, don't worry, you will find a job soon. No word of a lie. 2 days later, I was at my German school, learning German. And I was explaining my situation, that I'd lost my job in German, trying to practice my German. And the German teacher turned around to me and said, she said, we need an English teacher in our German school, because it was a language school. And yeah, so I remember thinking, wow, I didn't even go looking for a job. Yeah. And yet now I have a job that's just fallen into my lap. Yeah. And so my journey was that I was this hotshot dentist in London, and now I was this person teaching English in Wiesbaden. And I remember thinking, wow, like I said, it wasn't what I imagined. Yeah, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, but somehow we were getting by. So I had this job as an English teacher. I was transporting devotees. I think some of you I gave lifts to. Thank you for your custom. Yeah. And I was living off savings. Yeah. And this I did for a year. And after 18 months of being in Germany, Drishti, one of the devotees here in residence there, she introduced me to a dentist here, the local dentist. And so I went to meet him, and we had a nice conversation and so on. And he was like, oh, you're a dentist as well. And somehow we hit it off. Yeah. And he said, yeah, it'll be good if you come and work for me. So what I need you to do is get your approbation, which is your license. Yeah. So get your license, go and get your license. And I was like, oh, I don't know if my German's good enough. I had all this fear in my system. And he was like, no, he put pressure on me to say, go and do it. Just go and do the exam. You've got nothing to lose. I will pay for your exam. Yeah. And so I booked the exam. And I remember the night before there was an event at Springen, and I was super stressed out. Yeah. Everyone who saw me at that day knew I was super stressed. Yeah. Trying to learn for this German exam. Yeah. And I thought after my dental studies, I was done with exams. Yeah. And now I had to do more exams. And then I remember Guruji saw me the night before, and he said, Anshul, are you still stressed? And I was like, yeah, Guruji, I'm really stressed. He was like, don't be stressed. Everything will be all right. But despite his words, I was still stressed. I was still panicking. Yeah. Anyway, next day, the exam came along, did the exam. And I thought I wasn't ready, but I passed. I passed the exam. So I'd learned German in 18 months. Yeah, I'd learned enough German in 18 months to be able to pass this exam. And then suddenly I got a call from this guy. I told him I passed. He's like, oh, great, perfect. Get all the paperwork and stuff and done. And then we'll take it from there. And then he phoned me up and he said, one of the girls at work is sick. She needs a new hip and she'll be out for weeks. Yeah, and a couple of months. is there any chance you could work for me as a dental nurse? Yeah. And I'll pay you a dental nurse wage. Yeah. I was like, brilliant, I'll do it. No problem. Yeah. I was prepared to do anything. Yeah. And so I worked for him for a couple of months. And in that time, I got to know him. Yeah. And we developed a friendship. And after a couple of months, he said, do you know what? I really like you. And I think we'll work really well together. Brexit's coming around the corner. Yeah. We don't know what the situation is after Brexit, the political situation. We don't know how easy it would be for you to work here. I want you to be a partner in my practice. Okay. And so after a couple of years of being in Germany, I'd gone from this journey of losing my job in the UK, becoming an English teacher and a taxi driver for devotees. Yeah. And then yet here at the end of my day, at the end of the year, I was being offered a partnership so that I would be the co-owner of my own dental practice. And that was, like I said, when I realized, I was like, this is like, I don't deserve this. This has just fallen into my lap. Yeah. This has come out of nowhere. And as I started to see things unfold, this trust in Guruji started to develop a little bit more. I'm not saying that I had complete trust in him, and I have complete trust in him. There are moments where I still have doubts. The mind is the biggest danger on the path. And what I would say is, when you listen to Guruji and when you're prepared to put everything at stake, to almost put your life on the line, what happens is when you start to see things coming good, your trust in Guruji starts to explode. Your love for Guruji starts to explode, because no longer is it the experience of someone else. It's your own experience. It's your very own. And you know, Guruji done this for me. He saw everything that was about to happen. And he just laid the path. And he said, do this, do this, do this, do this. And luckily, I was able to quieten this mind for long enough just to carry out his instruction. And what I will say is, when you listen to Guruji and you come out the other side, it gives you such a peace in your heart and a tranquility that is incomparable. And I know also the feeling when you don't listen to Guruji, it leaves a sour taste in your heart. You can't quite look him in the eye and say, look, I've done everything you've asked me for. Yeah. And this is why I think, this is personally my opinion, when we have this sadhana and training and all this kind of stuff, it's for these moments when Guruji asks something of you that you're able to deliver. Yeah. Because before then he didn't really ask me for anything, but only at that point did he ask me for something. And it wasn't for him, it was for me. And so I'll just go on to the last part of my talk. That was about trusting and listening to the master. And now it's about serving the master. And serving the master is a big thing. I don't think I'm really serving the Guruji at all, if I'm honest with you. I think I'm just lucky to be around him and participate and see how he operates day to day. And that's the biggest blessing of my life, to be here, because I get to see that. And unlike Swami Revati and Swami Anushuya that you've heard from in the past, my situation is a bit different because I'm a grihasta and I have a wife and I have kids and I'm here. And as you know, we're not allowed to live in the ashram. The ashram is for brahmacharis and brahmacharinis, monks and nuns. And I remember when we moved here, we were living 8 or 10 kilometers away. And this is another story that I'll just share with you quickly before. It came to the time when we had to move out of where we were living. So we were looking for somewhere to live. And I remember looking in the place that we were staying. So that, like I said, it was 8 to 10 kilometers away. And we found a place. My wife fell in love with it. I thought it was a brilliant place, really comfortable. It was within 200 or 300 yards from Kesha's kindergarten, so we could walk there. And I thought, yeah, happy days. And the price was cheap as well. I thought, brilliant, we'll take it. And I said, before we take it, we'll just ask Guruji. So I text Guruji and I said, we found this place 8 to 10 kilometers away, and I think it's perfect. Should we take it? And Guruji said, no, wait. He replied, no, wait. And the mind kicked in. And we were like, do you think we should take it? And, but luckily, sometimes, you know, those of you who know Subai, she's very strong and very centered, yeah? And she was the one who said, no, we have to listen to what Guruji says. He's taken us this far, trust him. So we listened, we waited. Now, those of you know, getting a room in Springen is really difficult. Yeah, a long-term lease is really difficult. Sometimes on event days, for short-term, for a weekend, it's really difficult. To get a house, a family house, is near enough impossible. It's like digging for gold, you know, on a concrete pavement. Yeah, it's that difficult. Yeah. And we waited a few weeks. The tension's building, nothing's coming through. And then out of nowhere, a house becomes available. It was a little bit expensive. I was still working as a teacher then. But I said to Guruji, this house has become available in Springen. Should we take it? And he said, yes, take it. So without looking at it, we took it. We took it. We met the landlady and we looked inside and it was fine. It was no problem. Yeah. And yeah, so that's how we moved to Springen. And so now we're basically 5, 6, 7 minute walk away from the center, and to drive there it takes about a minute. Yeah. And that has made our lives so much easier because we are able to participate in the center. We're able to just go up and down as we please, and it's been a godsend. Like these 8 to 10 kilometers is not far, but when you have to run back and pick something up for the kids or go back and get the kids fed, it seems like an eternity. Anyway, so that was how we got to live in Springen. And let me say this, moving to Springen has been one of the best things that's ever happened to us. Yeah, for us personally as a family, on so many levels. Yeah, for me personally, although I had everything in the UK materially, I was sinking. And like I said, it goes back to this time when I was in India with Guruji and I was sick. I was sick. In the UK, I was sick because I'm of the predisposition where I get drawn by Maya. Yeah. And I'm a happy-go-lucky person where I can almost be happy anywhere. Yeah. And I was drowning in Maya. And Guruji, by asking me to move to Springen, he took me out of this Maya and he's placed me directly at his feet. He's placed me directly at his feet. And I will expand on that in a moment. But for my wife, it's been a godsend. For my sons, it's been a godsend. My second son is autistic. And I know, like everyone I've spoken to, all the doctors, we were going to a horse therapy the other day, and he's an English person who moved to Wiesbaden many years ago, yeah, because he married a German. And he was telling me, why did you move to Germany? And I told him the whole story about Guruji and all this kind of stuff. He goes, do you know what? For your autistic child, this is one of the best places you will ever be, because you're surrounded by countryside, you have animals. There's, you know, London is too much sensory input for him. And here he has the best chance of developing and functioning, not normally, but so close to normal as possible in society. And so what I'm trying to say is that if I rewind to when Guruji first asked me to move, all these doubts, how are the kids going to get educated? How am I going to find a job? How am I going to make money? How is this going to work? And so on and so on and so on. When you trust the master, he takes care. he sorts everything out. Every detail is out. And it's almost to the point where we wouldn't want to change anything anymore because it's perfect the way it is. Yeah. And like I said, we live in Springen now, and serving the master or being with the master here in Springen is a blessing, is a huge blessing. And what I want to say is being around the master, what it does is it makes you put your ideas to one side. What you think is appropriate for you, what you think is best, what you think is best for your family. Yeah. We have all these notions that society throws down our throat to what a good family should be like. Yeah. But Guruji will throw that all out the window. And this is where your trust needs to come in. Yeah. And I think in a family setting, and this goes for a Sangha setting as well, but if everyone in the family can learn to put Guruji first and have the same vision of Guruji, then you've won. That's the secret, because if you all see Guruji as God, as the master who knows everything, who is perfect, and don't doubt him, everything is perfect. Because the reason why I say that is because there'll be times where I'll spend many hours with Guruji and Subha's alone with the kids. And it's very easy for Subha to say, oh, do you know what? You can't do that. That's not right. I need you here. And so on and so on and so on. But she has her trust in Guruji and I have my trust in Guruji. And the two, what that does is it allows us to both work on ourselves and develop. And we have our challenges. It's not always a bed of roses here, but through those challenges, we learn a lot about ourselves. And that's only down to Guruji. And so what I would say is about the blessing of being around the master day in, day out is that he's the barometer. He's a perfect reflection of your inside. And when you see him almost every day, and he's watching your every move. Yeah. When you're serving him, he's watching your every move. And what that brings is a certain level of concentration, a certain level of attention, and that you can't take your eye off the ball for a moment. Yeah. Because when you do, he will snap on it. Very short shares. Tell me if I'm going over. I don't have any idea of time. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. No worries.
Okay. Very small experience just happened the other day. So as you know, it's really hot here, and Guruji was eating, and he wanted the flies are coming in because they see the food and all this kind of stuff. The flies are coming in, and normally what we do is we open the doors and we put the roller blinds down so the flies come in, but we get some fresh air. Yeah. And he said to me, Anshul, open the door. So as we'd done all the way through up to that point, I opened the door and closed the blind. And then I sat back down and he turned to me and he said, what did I tell you? And I said, I did. I opened the door. And he said, I didn't say close the blind. I said, open the door only. And then that's what I mean. When you're in the moment, when you're hungry and all you want is food, yeah. The instruction of the master, you can't take your eye off the ball for a moment, yeah. And in that way, the beauty of being here and being around the master is that you're constantly thinking about him. You're constantly thinking about him. And that brings, when you can learn to enjoy it, because when you're serving someone, there's sometimes stress. That's part of it. Yeah. When Guruji's, for example, he asked Bhavani to do the play, gave her 4 or 5 days. They did it in a week. Yeah. Last week. Stress. It's stress to organize everyone and get it done. But when you do it and you see the smile on Guruji's face, the barometer, yeah, it gives you such a joy in your heart. And that's what I say. That's the beauty of being around the master. You get constant feedback about if you're doing something good, and also if you're doing something wrong or bad or not appropriate. Yeah. So I think I'll just draw a line there and just say to all of you, I know it's a difficult time because you can't come and see him. I've lucky in the sense of that I've seen Guruji give his online darshans, and it's a very special time. I know obviously people would want to see him physically, but these online darshans, when you're in the same room as him, it's beautiful to see. When, for example, he'll have a screen full of people in front of him, he'll wave at one person, and that person knows he's waving at them. Yeah, it's amazing to see that kind of stuff, that kind of feedback. Yeah, and it's amazing to see the connection that you all have with him. And like I said, it's a difficult time, but if you can learn to somehow accept what's been happening and go deep and go deep and go deep, you'll find him, and he'll find. That's like I said, like all the details of my life coming to Germany were just taken care of. He'll find a way of taking care of you and showing you that he loves you, showing you that he knows what you want, what you're praying for, and he'll give you that feedback. You've just got to go and get it. And that's what it comes back to, the longing that I talked about at the beginning of my satsang. So I think I'll stop there because I've probably bored you enough. And Shez, what do I do now?
You just sit. It's fine.
Okay, that's it.
So actually, that was really it was really lovely, really inspiring. I think really grateful that you shared so many of the lessons that you've learned. I think often sometimes we underestimate that just because Guruji can give an experience to one person, but when that person shares it with others, they also learn. So they don't necessarily have to go through that experience, but just by sharing of the experience, that's how other people learn. So so really kind of invaluable what Anshul's given us today, and thoroughly enjoyable. I was just literally picturing everything you were saying. I was just picturing it in my mind, so you could visualize Guruji saying everything to you in the way that he was saying it. And that's why we do these sessions, and it's really wonderful. So we've got a few surprises lined up, but before we do that, are there any questions from people, comments? So feel free to raise your hand on the Zoom thing, or type a question in the chat.
I only see 4 people.
You have to click gallery view.
Gallery view. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. I see everyone. Oh, wow. Cool.
Okay. Anyone or? Okay. Anything from Facebook? Any people? Getting
They've had enough.
Zero response.
No,
I'll take that
like
as a sign that. Oh, hey. Sorry, who's that?
It's Saradasi, Ramona.
Okay. Hi.
Jai Gurudev. I want to say that it was very, as she said, very inspiring to hear you and to listen all the stories, and how you share with us. I felt deep in my heart. So it was like I was there with you. So really, thank you for that, and it also increased my trust in Guruji through all your stories, because you explained so nice and you picked good examples that bring them. For me, Gurudev, it was somewhere, but now it's more close and more inside. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharadasi. So I think if there's, I see people thinking on the comments there, Anshul, but no actual specific questions. So what we'll do now is we're going to move on to photo time. So this is usually my kind of favorite part of these things. So Anshul has very kindly has agreed to show us some of the pictures which illustrate his journey with Guruji. I'll just say, also, I know we've got a lot of people watching online as well. So just out of respect and kindness to Anshul, please, don't, as tempting as it may be, don't just take screenshots and then post them everywhere. Some of these are Anshul's private photos that he's kindly agreed to kind of show us all. We just have to respect that as well. So if the team can put the photos on. And then Anshul, you can feel free to talk us through some of these moments.
Yeah, I don't know what that look is about, but I look, I look. That was very early on when I met Guruji. That was in Steffenshof, and you can see that we were both young men then. I think Guruji was about 27, and I was about 24, 25. And yeah, maybe I need to smile a bit more in that picture. But yeah, that was just, I can't remember the exact situation, but that was just a photo of me and Guruji.
Wondering in your head, is it really him? Is he?
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah.
Is he the
Have my
real
prayers
deal?
really been answered? Yeah.
Okay, move on to the next one. I've got a selection here.
Okay. Yeah. So the left pic. Oh.
Keep it on this one, guys.
Yeah. So the left picture is when Guruji was visiting, I think, Ravi one time, a long time ago. And we went to a restaurant. Those of you know Joshen's in Ealing Road, the vegetarian restaurant there. We went there. Is it still there, by the way? Anyone know? Still there?
I mean, I'm getting some head shakes from those in the know. So.
Okay. Oh, Corona. Okay. Yeah. So we went there to eat, and we had it was famous for its chili paneer. So I remember having chili paneer with Guruji at that time. And like I said, he was kind enough to let me massage his neck at that time. So yeah, cool. The second picture, like I said, with Guruji, it's always fun. It's always fun. Yeah. Yes, there are times where he has to put his guru hat on, and he has to, be strict or tell us off. But most of the time, Guruji just has fun. Yeah. And this was one such occasion where he said that, where he basically dressed us up as women. Yeah. And he would put some makeup on, and so that was the picture from that. So yeah, that's not face up. That's just what he did. Okay. The picture on the right, I can't remember exactly when that was done, but I think Guruji, like I said, again, out of play, just extended the Lakshmi of my tilak, and he drew a completely straight line. And he also continued it all the way through my hair, all the way back around my head. So that was just a picture of that. Yeah.
You probably see that's Ratnamanjari in the background.
That's Ratnamanjari, yeah.
Ratnamanjari, yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Oh wow, Anshul, who's that guy on the picture next to you?
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's my brother. that was Myron when I think Myron might know. I think 2006. Yeah, in Steffenshof again. And I don't know what's better, old Myron or new Myron, but Myron with a goatee and earrings looked like a bit of a gangster then. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, even in those days, I used to, try and help Guruji a little bit with some of the pujas and stuff. And that was, some very, very good times, because it was a lot quieter then. And yeah, it was really good. And as you know, there's many, many more people now. And yeah, it was good. Fond memories.
Okay, and this one?
This one was, I remember I'd taken my career quite seriously. So I'd really worked hard on trying to perfect my skills and all this kind of stuff, and trying to be a good dentist. And as I explained before, I was in this really good practice. And when I felt like I'd become competent with everything, I remember Guruji suddenly texted me out of the blue, and he said, "Anshul, I need some work. Yeah, can you do it for me?" I was like, "Of course, I'd be happy to do it for you." And this was the time when he came to the UK to have his dental treatment. And at this time, we just bought our house in the UK. And this was where he'd come to visit me for the dental treatment. And by coincidence, he's like, what should we do now? And I was just like, could you come to my new house and bless it? And then he came to my new house and blessed it, and brilliant. But here is just a photo of the treatment. And Guruji was trying out my special glasses there, which my magnifiers. And so he was looking at my hand and it's just mucking around and playing around with my gadgets. So it was cool. Next.
Okay, so this one obviously isn't a photo. This is actually something that we put in. Because what I think, I don't know if you remember, but a year later, so that photo that you've just seen was in 2014. And a year later, Guruji gave his Bhagavatam discourse, so a 7-day discourse on the Srimad Bhagavatam, and out of nowhere, he really didn't have to reference what he did, but I've just given an extract from that day. He said, and Bhishma said, I will make him lift one weapon. He's talking about making Krishna lift a weapon in the Kurukshetra war. And Guruji said, Bhishma perceived the Lord inside of him. He knew the Leela of the Lord was playing with each one, and as a warrior he thought what a great thing it would be to see God as a warrior. And then what Guruji went on to say, completely, as you can see in the text, completely out of nowhere, he said, let's say you love to do something, for example, to pull teeth like a dentist, and for sure you would like Krishna to come to your dentist chair, right, and pull his teeth out. And then he also went on to explain the leader again, but what I don't know if you remember, but at that moment in the Bhagavatam course, Guruji turned to yourself in the corner, and he turned to Myron as well. And I remember seeing that very vividly, and remembering kind of the year before about how he came to your, well, it was actually Myron's dental practice, but the two of you kind of worked.
He came to both. He came to both. He blessed Myron's practice.
Yeah,
as well.
he had a couple of months of going to both. And it was also nice for Myron, which I was realizing today. This leader of Bhishma with getting Krishna to take the wheel is actually one of Myron's favorite leaders as well. So in this big 7-day commentary, the sweetness of just putting that moment out and putting it in that situation, just kind of for the two of you to see and acknowledge. Again, it's just a very kind of sweet moment of Guruji. So it's I just thought we'd share that as well. So we can move on now.
Yeah. So this is, like I said, over the 15 years, we've developed what feels like a very strong bond with Guruji. And he's been involved in every stage of our lives, from how we met, marriage, and the kids. And so here he's taken a really active interest in the boys' life. And he's there, he tells them off, he plays with them, he like a guru does, like a friend, like a member of our family. And that's our great fortune, and that's the fortune of my two boys as well, that they can also participate in being around Guruji. And I remember even the other day, we bumped into Guruji, Kesh and I, and Guruji, I said, Kesh, do pranam, bow down at Guruji's feet. And he bowed down, and Guruji said to Kesh, what's wrong with you? Why does Papa, or why does your dad always have to tell you to bow at my feet? You should bow at my feet automatically. And like that, Guruji is slowly installing and instilling these values and slowly educating them about the guru-disciple relationship, and also the value of the guru, and also this great tradition that Guruji is reviving for us.
Cool.
This was like I said, with Guruji, it's always fun. Yeah, and I'm lucky enough that Guruji and I we can laugh and joke about a lot of different things. And this was when we were at the Lakshmi Yagna in 2017, and we were laughing a lot. I can't remember what the joke was, like I said, but I wanted to get across that for someone who knows everything, for someone who's so divine, for someone who has the weight of his shoulders on his weight of his shoulders, the weight of the world on his shoulders, sorry, he always has time to have fun. And this is the beauty of when you have love in your heart. You always have fun, and that's what that picture was showing there. So next, yeah, and like I said, it's become a custom. I don't know why, but whenever in the last 10 years we moved about 4 times, 4 times, and in the last 3 times when we've moved to our properties or to Germany, Guruji, we've never lived or moved into the property completely until Guruji's come in and stepped foot in the house. And finally, it's so funny and so merciful when Guruji just creates a situation where he does come into the house. So we said, we're moving in, we're staying in the ashram until you set foot. I almost a little bit cheekily indirectly demanded it that you come. And he brought all the boys down and we all had dinner together. And that was the first night. That was, I think, the first night in our house. So yeah, fond memories again. So yeah, this was a very special time which happened last year. Guruji took us on holiday to Lanzarote, and he spent, like I said, we had a wonderful time with him. Wonderful time with him as a family. And up to this point, we never had a family holiday. We never had a family holiday. We got married in 2010. So for 7 years, we never had a family holiday because, not begrudgingly, but we'd always come to Germany to come and see Guruji. Every opportunity we took, we come to see Guruji. And because we didn't have so much opportunity, so much holiday and so on, that's why we couldn't go on a family holiday. And then when we moved to Germany, we didn't have the money to go on a holiday. And very, very kindly last year, Guruji invited us to go to Lanzarote with him. And so we spent a wonderful week or so with him, and a magical time. So like I said, the boys are very lucky. I don't know if Rama really knows how lucky he is. I don't know. But he's a very lucky boy. Guruji spends a lot of time with him. And I think out of everyone in the world, or all of it, certainly out of the devotees base, Rama doesn't really want to spend time with Guruji, if I'm honest with all of you. But yet Guruji takes the time to spend time with him. And that is very, very sweet and touching. And recently Kesh did a play where he dressed up as Panduranga. So that was just a moment where Guruji and Kesh posed for a photo of that. Next. So as you know, Guruji is walking, and he's so disciplined. Wow, amazing. He's so disciplined about his walks, and since this lockdown, since this corona thing has come, he's been walking religiously, minimum 5 kilometers every single day. And these walks are very special time. We have a lot of fun. We talk about everything. Sometimes we have a short break and we have something to eat, piece of fruit or something like that, and then we carry on. But whatever happens, rain or shine, Guruji will do his 5 kilometers. He will, as you saw earlier in the satsang, he'd just come back from his 5 kilometers, and he's slowly upping it. He's doing more and more. He's doing 6 kilometers. He went on an 8 kilometer last week, and he's really getting into it. And it's really nice to see. You know, it's really, really nice to see. So this was a photo taken during the Waves of Love, just before Guruji had done his half an hour slot, and Kesh was there watching. And like I said, for a young 6-7-year-old boy to have these experiences under his belt, I think Guruji has not only taken him under his wing, and he's planting seeds. And it's amazing to see the way in which Kesh is developing as well, because I remember I picked him up from school the other day, we dropped him home, and he was upstairs in his room, and I said, Kesh, what are you doing? Time for lunch. He said, I'm not doing anything. And I went up to go and see him. He was there with his deity, changing the clothes, trying on different outfits with his deity, with his Krishna. And like I said, we haven't done anything. It's Guruji that's doing everything. And Guruji has given him the environment where these seeds of bhakti, these seeds of a devotional relationship with God, with Krishna, are being sown. And it's beautiful to see. Next. And this was afterwards, where, like I said, we just take a photo after the waves of love, and we're just enjoying the sunset and the beautiful, beautiful landscape around here in Springen. And that's what, before Corona, I wasn't walking. Yeah, I only knew my house and the ashram. Now, since Corona and the walking that we've been on as a family and sometimes with Guruji, you get to appreciate the beauty of Mother Nature. And it's so, we feel so blessed that we're here and we're able to enjoy and bask in this aspect of Mother Nature. It's really good, really, really good.
Okay, I think those are the that was the final photo, I believe. So, so Anshul, that probably brings us to the end of the satsang. So I'd say a huge thank you, as you said, for taking the time out. I know it's very, you were there with Guruji, so he's very busy, but to kind of take the time out to speak with us and to, as the title of the satsangs are called, Journeys of Grace, your journey with Guruji is certainly one of grace. Sounds like your whole life of you and your family is also one of grace as well. So we kind of sense the gratitude that's coming out of you as you're kind of telling the story, and it's inspiring for us to also have that same gratitude towards Guruji. So really huge thank you from all of us who are watching and listening, that you've kind of taken the time to share your to share your story with us, bro. So much appreciated. What I'll do just before we go, just kind of say a few things about some of the upcoming events and activities in the UK. So I'm going to save kind of the main one till last. So tomorrow we've got a guided meditation with Roshan on Facebook at 9:30. And oh, we've got some posters there. So that's, and then again, I'm just going by the messages that Narayani was sending me. So again, I think there's Saturday and 10 till 1 we have a Simply Meditation course with Kamala. Again, there's another Simply Meditation session Sunday morning at 10:30 with Kamala. Sunday morning 11 till 11:30 AKY group practice with one of the teachers. Tuesday we have study circle with Swami Karuna from 7 o'clock onwards. Again, we have our weekly chanting Om sessions every Thursday, so that'll take place next Thursday as well at 7 o'clock. SPN, obviously there's the big weekend next week of Guru Purnima, the festival, the day that we all venerate Guruji and gurus around the world. So there'll be SPN will be sharing their activities about that. But I guess the kind of the one event that we kind of wanted to kind of finish on is the darshan. So next week on Wednesday, the 1st of July at 5 o'clock, as many of you will know, and as I hope many people are seeing on social media, the UK people from the UK, USA, Canada, and Ireland, we have our exclusive country darshan with Guruji that day, Wednesday, the 1st of July at 5 o'clock. I think it really links what we've just done today, what we've heard from Guruji, it really links nicely, because you've heard Anshul's journey and the way that Guruji has taken care of him and his family, the way that he's shown his love and his grace towards him. And one thing that Guruji was saying at the start of the year was what really moves Guruji himself the most is to see the transformation in his devotees, to see the transformation in people. So I guess from our side as a community and as devotees, as a sign of our gratitude, it's about getting as many people to meet Guruji, to have as many people to have the chance to have that transformation that only Guruji can really give. You see so many people in the world now doing things in the name of humanity, but if we really want to help humanity, it's to take people to Guruji is the best help that we can actually give this world. And you can see that by what you've just heard for the last hour from Anshul. So again, really encouraging people to be active in sharing and bringing people to the online darshans, whether you're in the UK or whether you're listening from another country. Bring people to your online country darshans, give them that chance to come face to face with Guruji, and for that, an opportunity for that transformation to happen. And at least in the UK, we're going to be sending out a few more details in the next few days about other ways that we can help to promote Guruji and kind of boost his online presence on social media as well. So again, keep a lookout for that as well. And again, it's his grace that he's making it so easy now that we get to just serve him just from the comfort of our own home, just from our smartphone. You can spread the love of God just by sitting at home on your smartphone, and that's the mercy of God as well. So we'll leave it there, but what we'll do, we'll leave with closing with the video about the darshan. So if that's all from Anshul and from everyone else, we'll say goodbye to everyone with the video of about Guruji. Or Anshul, was there anything further you'd like to say?
Just very, I know you guys have been very patient with me. Just to say thank you to you all, because I know it's a long talk, but this idea of service to Guruji, we can all do something just to, because the beauty of service is that it concretizes your relationship with Guruji. And whether you're serving him directly or whether you're serving him through Facebook or whether you're serving him in your country, it concretizes your relationship and it makes you think of him, and it makes you, it pulls you from inside out. And I think that's very good, very powerful when you do it properly. So thank you all. Thank you very much. Very good.
Okay, thank you again, Anshul. Jai Gurudev to everyone else in the room with you there, Anshul, whoever's listening. And so we'll play the video now, and we'll leave it there. Okay, thank you, Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
But have you ever looked into the eyes of a spiritual master? Come and experience it for yourself. Look into the eyes of real, unconditional love, and let it open your heart. Paramahamsa Sri Swami Vishwananda is a God-realized master who lives in constant union with the divine. He lives at a place in the heart of Europe. It is called the home of the Divine Mother. From here, he is now giving what is called darshan online so that everyone can benefit. Darshan means divine sight, but simple words cannot do justice to the incredible experience of seeing and being seen by him. Look into the eyes of unconditional love and let it open your heart. You can now have your own experience of this divine master from wherever you are. Feel it for yourself and let love return.
Okay, I got a message saying I'm not sure what's happening with the video, but there's a few technical hitches. But the video's online. We'll share it again on Facebook and we'll share it again with the devotees. So thank you again for everyone for joining. Thank you, Anshul. We'll just finish with the closing prayer. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Prem So Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Hey, Jai Gurudev, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so
Jai
much.
Gurudev. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Jai Gurudev, everyone.
Jai Gurudev.
Anshul's not there till Anshul leaves.
Thank you, Anshul.